Yeah.
Yeah.
Good evening, all. I'm Abasab Kale, task force member of RA and 1996 mechanical pass out from RIT. It gives me immense pleasure to congratulate all the freshers from RIT today in presence of great Honorable Naushad Folk. I'm specifically starting this episode of our weekly progress meeting with this particular announcement. The reason being, when I heard Naushad today after a long time, I am part of, or I was a product of Folk Marshall after graduation from RIT. I did my post graduation from Folk Marshall in steam engineering, and I could meet Naushad and Farad there. Uh, this post graduation was brainchild of Naushad specifically when he was teaching at Stanford University, and this was one of the very first hands-on PGD in India. You must hear Naushad. Recording is available on YouTube. What exactly he talked about today's engineering world in India and what we should do, first of all, as engineers. I think really great speech. I highly recommend that everyone should look at. So, getting forward on today's agenda, we'll have overview of RA weekly progress meeting of 68th progress meeting, that is last meeting. Then we have a special presentation by Space Club RIT. I'm really glad here to mention that we have more than 30 clubs at RIT, and they are really doing a great job. Most of them are been already represented here on this platform, and we are trying to get them and give them a specific opportunity here so that we all know what exactly they are looking at, what is the passion, and how we can really help them. Around 10:05 to 10:25 we'll have a long question and answer session, and then around 12:25 to say 10:30 we'll have concluding remarks. Giving insights about RA, you by now all know we are sort of a organization which has been created by RIT alumni for helping all the stakeholders of ecosystem of RIT. So we have a vision which has been really fine-tuned during last entire year. I think you see today being 69th meeting, we have a great vision, and final product of that is forming of Section 8 company, which we already started. We need to build a very strong network of alumni, and it has different perceptions and benefits. Already we are getting very positive results out of this particular interaction, and I'm sure you will love to support our vision in your personal capacity. We work through various communities to help alumni to institute, alumni to students, and alumni to alumni. I think one of today's exercise and episode is for alumni to students. We work through various verticals and task force like overseas community, business community, and marketing division and all, who really help us to reach out to you effectively. Going forward, if you can help me, Rohit, these are various communities which I was talking about. Rohit, we can go to the next slide, please. This is overall impact, what we've been doing. We will definitely keep you engaged during coming years on various activities, which will not only help you as a professional engineer, but also help society in a bigger way. Quickly, I will take review of last meeting. I think we had a couple of startups which were presented here. Great credit goes to our Professor Pisa, who's really inculcating this particular sort of culture at RIT of startups. I think lots of young engineers, fresh engineers are going towards getting into entrepreneurship, and this is really amazing to see some of the best results like Healthy Wings. we spoke to Healthy Wings, as well as we had another group. Rohit, I'm really sorry, I'm just forgetting the name of the second group. If you can help me here. Second group who presented their case, and then scope hai kya?
Yes.
I understand, and I saw a message from Professor Mirza a couple of days back before result of engineering, other engineering programs, that they are going to help lots of parents as well as students to make choice of a correct engineering career. One of the most important, what you can say, announcement which we did a couple of days back is the inauguration of e-bike 350 in presence of Honorary R.D. Sawant sir, Honorary Director Ma'am Sushma Kulkarni, S.K. Patil, who's Dean of who's Dean Academics and HOD of Mechanical Department. I must congratulate and thank Professor Lokesh Patil, Manzoor Mirza, and entire team of students who supported us to launch this dream project. I'm saying dream project because this is going to be our first effort under Section 8 company to go commercial, report some profit, and use that profit to help students to build better projects and better future. This particular prototype of this particular bike is third iteration of Raha Business Innovation Forum's continuous development and improvement of e-bike 350, which the range of this bike is around 40 kilometer in one charge with 36 volt and 350 watt lithium ferrosphate battery. This type of batteries are safer than lithium ion batteries. The battery manufacturer has offered typical 3 years warranty with minimum 2000 charging cycles of life. Raha Innovation team preferred using BLDC hub motor in this cycle, the best on road for the best on-road performance. I think it will cost you around 25,000. That is our initial price, and I'm sure we will definitely sail across our way of success sitting on this particular bike, and I'm sure you all will support us in big way. Going forward on today's session, I'm really glad to tell you that we have representatives from Space Club of RIT, another very innovative club at RIT. And I'm sure at the end of the session, you will have lots of questions to ask them, as this sort of initiatives at least were not there when we were studying. And I'm sure this will help these students to shape their future in a field where they really want to dream big. So I'm thankful to the entire team of Space Club RIT to join us today. We welcome you and we assure you that all alumni here will support your efforts in future. And I'm sure we will like to introduce you to some of the great brains in this particular field. And I already promised you that one of my great friends from Pune and Vile Parle, Parag Mahasni, who is a ex-NASA scientist and one of the very well-known space enthusiasts from India. We will very soon introduce you to Parag. So over to you, Space Club, and I request all the attendees to please reserve your questions till 10:05, so that we can very effectively get these answers from Team Space Club. Over to you, Neeraj. All the best. Can you hear me, Neeraj?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hopefully my screen is visible, everyone.
Yeah, very
Thank you,
good.
sir, for your okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights between RA and the startup and the platform it provides for the students like us. And myself, Neeraj Patil, I am currently TY electrical student working at Space Club as a system engineer. So, speaking about the Space Club, here at Space Club we work at different domain of space, different domains in space technology and space exploration. And mainly, let me take you to a small journey that we had. with making different projects. So that was the for introduction what Space Club does here. So let me quickly take you through what Space Club and what it works under. That is SEED, Center of Innovation Incubation Entrepreneur Development. We from our colleagues there are ECell and MediaCell. We work with them, and it was established in 2016 under the guidance of PISA. So vision that we inherit or we have is that we are here for creating a culture of fearless thinking, designing and building ideas in the field of space research. And similar to the space, as it doesn't have boundary, we need to have established no boundaries of thinking. And as we know, we also need to spread it in community, expanding it day by day to spread the power of optimism. Talking about the different things that it does, that is R&D, that is research and development. We have a team which works for the cheaper and better ways for satellite and rocket development. Also, we have collaborated or did collaboration work with various different institutes, and also working on different subsystems. We also have a task to pass on the knowledge that we inherit to the next generation. And also we have a culture of research and development in rocket satellite field model rocket. Now, the achievements that we had over the past years of Space Club. On the right hand side, you can see the balloon satellite that was launched with a payload for capturing the image of the edge of the Earth and videos and having sample of air. And on the left hand side, that is EPLV that was launched recently with a height of 1 kilometer. Starting from the hour, that is, we have successfully completed balloon satellite with full recovery and successful payload work. It was in collaboration with ISA Bhopal. And now cloud seeding project is in pipeline. That is, we are working on cloud seeding project through Rocket. Also, MOU has been signed with ISA Bhopal and IIGM, that is Indian Institute of Geomagnetism, which was one of our collaborations. And rocketry competition, national level, that is SDNX, we secured first rank in it. And next following is the rocket with a height of 1 kilometer with a successful deployment system has been done. And we also have 10 licensed radio operators, which are eight restricted one and two grade one. Now, the missions that we have over here, as you know, a person or a club without goal is seems to be idle or devil's playground. So here we have different missions that we need to achieve over the time. First of all is to study the different subsystems used in satellite and rocket that are power, OBCs, communications, structure, and much more. Also, there is experimental launching of amateur rockets, that is model rocketry, what we do, to develop our own communication system and build a ground station for real-time tracking of communication or communication with satellite. Also, fourth is to design and develop a working satellite model to examine and develop our knowledge and strength and weaknesses that we do possess. Fifth is we need to get in contact with the research or ISRO to get a college research project, college level research projects. Uh, and also sixth is developing the rocket with a foolproof recovery system. That is one of the major goals that we have. Uh, Now the roadmap over the past years that what things we have achieved. In 2017, at the beginning of the club, that is 2016, we had established, and the next year we had a satellite workshop that was by IIT Bombay. We had conducted, and the next big event in 2018 that was balloon satellite. We will soon see deeply what the balloon satellite has payload and what was the objectives of the balloon satellite. In 2019, we clearly won the first rank in the national level rocketry, model rocketry competition held by SDNX. And recently, as you know, 2020 was merely lockdown, and hopefully we didn't get much time. So 2020 was a period where we didn't perform a lot. Moving to 2021, recently we had EPLV-1 launch, that is experimental payload launch vehicle, and we will see in deep regarding EPLV and load cell 2. Load cell was one of the greatest achievements or greatest project done by first project done by TY. Now let us dive into the balloon satellite, that is high altitude balloon satellite that was sent in 2018. In the background, you can see the balloon satellite. First is the balloon that is filled with air of helium and follows a parachute for the deployment, and then a white color box that is contains the payload. On the left hand side at the bottom, you can see the payload we have at compartment we have in payload, one of the compartment. That was LoRa module for the communication over a long distance. And also for taking the images, we had Raspberry Pi with camera. And on the right hand side, you can see the image taken by the camp on Raspberry, and which was successfully, we can say, data was received from a long distance. Let's talk about how we got successful recovery or deployment back of satellite. That was we used a GPS module, Neo 6M, where we track the whole path of balloon satellite from beginning to end, and where it could land, and the path we can follow to search it out. The payload main here was to collect the air sample at that height uh, for which cryogenic apparatus was used, for which we need to insulate, we need an insulation from the environment, sterilization, high chilled environment, and it was with the collaboration, or we can say the things or collection of air data that we received was then successfully, or we can say carefully, dispatched to ISR Bhopal for the further we can say research and material, and with utmost care it was dispatched from the space club to ISR Bhopal, and it was carried out in 2018. The picture behind you see, that is the back side, or we can say the ground behind the RIT track where we launched it from. Following next is the SDNS rocket that we were competition that we were talking about. That is SDNS Inter College Rocket Competition. On the right hand side, you can see the rocket Phoenix that was built and designed, or we can say successfully launched for the competition, and the certificate of appreciation along with it. Here we achieved the first rank among the 7 participating team that were present on that day, for which we got Experiment Design Award, Altitude Award that we achieved, and also Best Team Spirit Award. Here the rocket had the objective that rocket was, or parameter that rocket should perform within was, altitude was given to be 1.2 kilometer to 1.6 kilometer height, and we have a propulsion motor, that the motor is the thing that we use to sending the rocket into the air. We call it propulsion motor, that is grade J457 motor. And payload here in the Phoenix was temperature measurement and pressure measurement, for which we achieved the first rank in this competition. Now, for telling you regarding the load cell, I would like to call my colleague Gaurav, who is one of the member of our subsystem, motor subsystem, or head of our motor subsystem, that look out from the R&D, research and development of load cell designing to execution of it. Gaurav, it's all yours.
Thank you, Neeraj. Hope I am audible.
Yes, Gaurav, you can go ahead.
Uh, for the introduction, for rocket engines are critical part of rocketry. The overall performance of rocket is greatly influenced by rocket engines. This same goes for model rockets or amateur rockets. So it's important for us to have efficient engines for rockets. So for rockets, it is important to have all predicted flight data.
Neeraj, can you please mute yourself, Neeraj, so that Gaurav can speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for rockets, it is important to have all predicted flight data for safe and successful flight. And performance of rocket engines motor is one of the important parameters. We can gather most of the data through a theoretical calculation or a simulation, but it's crucial to have a data of your rocket engines in an actual environment prior to the launch. So static test, or you can either call hot fire test, is one of the method to acquire the actual performance of your motor. This test provides data like a chamber pressure of your motor, uh, total thrust, total impulse. In case of amateur rockets or model rockets, this kind of data is very useful for a calculation of apogee, maximum velocity of a vehicle, or maximum acceleration. In a space club, we do static tests for solid propellant rocket motors. Through these tests, we are able to calculate total impulse of motor. We use this total impulse for the calculation of our apogee and various other parameters like velocity, acceleration, etc. We conduct this test using load cell, or a static test system, which has been developed by Space Club RIT. The load cell is used to test the performance of a rocket through the firing the rocket engine in a static mode to read the dynamic loading. They currently in a market there are multiple load cells are present, but they are only limited for a static loading. But for a rocket motor, it is important to have data of a dynamic loading. In model rocketry, the main use of load cell is to measure total thrust provided by the motor. In Space Club, we have developed our own load cell to measure the thrust provided by solid rocket motors. So there are some specifications of this load cell we have developed. Uh, the first one is a rapid reusability. This load cell can be ready for the next test or consecutive test within the 5 minutes. You just need to change the graph plotter paper and the motor to test. That's enough. Uh, the load cell we previously had has a two motors, two rollers for a graph plotter. But now this updated design has only one roller for a graph plotter. This design doesn't need any external resistance to stop the motor because as we fire this motor in a vertical direction against the ground, uh, this the design is developed in a such a way that we can plot the graph in a various various scale. Like suppose you are going to test a small thrust motor or a large thrust motor, there is a need to be a feasibility of a scale for the graph. The larger the graph, the more accurate will be the results. That's the case. The current design has a maximum thrust limit up to 1.5 kilonewton. And you can easily change the thrust range just by changing the spring used in the load cell with the greater stiffness to increase the maximum thrust range. Uh, to plot the graph, we use theoretical burn time. Actually, we calculate the theoretical data first from the some softwares like Meteor and other softwares available in our like on a Richard Naka website. Through the data, we use those data to give the burn time to this load cell. Actually, this load cell uses that theoretical burn time for the graph plotter, which helps to plot the maximum graph on a graph plotter. So now let's see one of video for a load cell. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Gaurav, for your well presentation on the load cell. Now, talking about EPLV1. So, EPLV1 termed as Experimental Payload Launch Vehicle. So, similarly to the SDNX rocket, where we have achieved the 1 kilometer height, 1 kilometer height of altitude, and we have successfully deployed and recovered the rocket, and with the payload of IMU sensor and a pressure sensor. So where IMU sensor was trying to achieve the orientation of the rocket, and the pressure sensor was trying to achieve the altitude. Now the major point here is that why we are going to 1 kilometer, and why we are not upgrading ourselves. The reason behind was to recover our system, that we are launching a very prizeful or a very valuable parts to the into the atmosphere at a very large height. So therefore our recovery and deployment system should be standardized so that it can be reusable for other projects. So that was our main focus in while launching this EPLV1 and designing it. And we were also trying to achieve the practical means real-time data from the sensors to automatically or do automatically the rocket will try to calculate its height and try to open the parachute for the recovery system. So now we will see a video related to the PLV1. Yeah, you can see now how it's going in up direction. So now this was the video about the launch of EPLV1 we have recently do. Now the major factor remains is that how can we use EPLV1 in different applications. So what are the applications of EPLV1? So the EPLV1, that is we have achieved for a 1 kilometer altitude. So we can use it for weather data acquisition.
where as everybody knows that our weather is changing day by day. So the data or the weather parameters, so that can be helpful for the scientist or the researchers to determine the climate, how it works, how it behaves in it. We can also do weather modification and controlling. That means there is excess rain in some region and there is less rain, that there is a drought in some region. So to counter this, there has to be a controlling systems that can be done using EPLV rocket. We will see in next slide for that. The third is the scientific research payload. So for any research purpose or simple payload, we can situate in our payload area, and we can launch it to a particular height, and we can and the researcher can the researcher can take the data and try to research on that. Fourth is the satellite testing. So this satellite testing, if anybody have done some small satellites, as we have seen the new technologies emerging, there are small satellites are also coming down. So the system can be tested using our rocket that can go for a particular height, and we can eject it and try to learn the different parameters that will affect the rocket in the real time world. And fifth is the surveillance and observation of territory and geographical areas. That we can also capture the images, videos, and different geographical, using different sensors. We can understand the geographical area at a particular height for a small region that we can use. As you can see, the photos of the payload we have used for our recent EPLV1. There is a nano satellite. I think it's a picosatellite, and you can see also there is a more excess rainfall. So moving forward to the uh, cloud seeding and weather control. So now, as I have told, that weather modification and controlling can be done using EPLV1 or the rockets. So in the cloud seeding and weather control, as you can see, in the due to as per the statistics from the IMD India, the India experienced the lowest total monsoon rainfall since the season began on June 1, being 10% below normal, according to the weather office. So, but in some region there was excess rain, some region there was no rain. So it's a matter where we have to think and we have to understand what is a climate change. So there comes the cloud seeding. So it's a simple technique that is a weather modification that aims to change the amount or type of precipitation that falls from the cloud, that is the water vapors on different precipitation, by spraying or dispersing substances that can be a silver iodide or any other chemicals on the spraying on the clouds. And due to this, the clouds gets condensed and they form the ice nucleus, and the rainfall can be controlled or can be increased. We can control the rainfall, and we can means as can increase the rainfall. So you can see there is an animated video where a person is given an injection, and where a cloud is now doing rainfall in the large manner. And there are different ways of cloud seeding and weather modification techniques, like we can use aeroplanes and different things. But as a rocketry club, as a space club, we are trying to achieve in low manner, in the low cost and in different manufacturing techniques, using EPL1 and our own rockets for a specific areas related to that. So now moving for the next slide. So now Neeraj will be continuing. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So for finishing up, the things that we have in the upcoming projects or objectives that Space Club want to reach out is, first of all, reaching the altitude of 3 to 7 kilometers with the model rocket we have, and the propulsion rockets or motors that we have or that we inherit for, we can say, successful deployment. And next is the module design and standardization. That is standardization in case of, we can say, assembling the rocket, and also we can see the recovery system. Standardizing it, which would be better helpful for the next generation to work or start the work from where the other generation has been left. Also, we need to, or we desire to have a real-time data tracking with a proper ground station that we see on different module rocket experimentary club. Real-time data at on your fingertips or the laptop that you have on the ground or ground station built. And fourth of all is the thrust vector control and gimbal nozzle. It is mostly used, we can say what the use of gimbal nozzle or thrust vector control is required in the motor. It is mainly used for the orientation of the rocket, or it should go on a straight line, or it should follow a desired path or required path that we need for the project. And also we need to have advanced recovery mechanism, not only just starting from the mechanics or having a simple mechanism. We need to advance it, decreasing the weight of the payload, helping a rocket to reach more and more altitude. So we need to have some advancement in recovery, for which we are working now. Movable fins is one of the major concerns or thing that model rocket requires for the directions of the rocket or orientation or stability, for which the R&D department is working on. And also the hybrid propulsion motors. Now we use the solid propellant, that is sugar and KN3. We need to have some hybrid propulsions to enhance the power of the rocket and reaching more and more altitude. So these are some of the ways to reach more altitude, decreasing the payload weight, or we can say having a powerful rocket motor, by which we can achieve the desired altitude that we require. Uh, these are the some of the upcoming objectives that we need to fulfill. And not only we stay in our limits, but like space, we need to move outside the box or without the boundaries. We conduct outreaching and workshops. So we can say one of the third part of our vision is spreading the optimism in the community we serve and increasing it day by day. So behind you can see school. We had a small presentation or informative session regarding careers they can pursue in space or at the small age, so that they have an idea that some part of what things are within their reach and not. Below that you can see a picture. It was the IIT Bombay at 2017 that we had a satellite workshop, and such on the right the major that highlights one of the screenshots. We can say we had a webinar on open rocketry software. It is one of the major software used in field of space for designing the model rocket, from starting from the body tube, nose cone, nozzles, motors, assembling it, finding it the stability simulations. It is a software that requires high skills, and we have students that are somewhat expertise in these. And we had a session regarding open rocketry, which was conducted by one of our student, that is Shardul, from fourth year. And we had a 2 hour session regarding that, for which we were called at Space Week at Hyderabad for the workshop. And as follows, the sir has approached us for one more workshop regarding that for the high school we can prepare. And there is a team which is working on that, so we can have connection within somewhat outside the club or outside the RIT from our end. So that was a great session we had, and that's for workshop and outreaching program that we have. And finally, I would like to conclude our presentation with this. And uh, we can say platform is open for questions. Any question that we have regarding the club or the presentation that we showed, and you can also contact us through the mail that is provided below.
Great, Neeraj and team. Thank you very much indeed. I think it was really mind-blowing presentation. I request all the attendees to please post their questions or raise hand, so that we can either unmute you or we can read the question. Meantime, I think if Pisar sir is there, I would like to ask him a question. What was his idea behind this particular space club? and when actually he thought about this. Vishal sir, if you are there, I think I saw you in attendee list. If you can please unmute yourself.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Okay. In 2016, we established SEED, Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship Development. So, for launching towards the aim was to inculcate the culture of entrepreneurship and innovation and further incubation. So, for approaching these, some technical topics we should undertake, technical startups should be started. And one more thing that we want to create, that enabling the students that yes, we can also do it. So inferiority complex आपण जो म्हणतो, so that was there in our students. So why not to work on the project which will be in align with the IITs or the projects which are not handled by other government colleges, so we can prove our competencies. So at that time, Indrajit Nikam, now CGP Bioplus, he has started founded. So he took initiative, and with his idea, this technical club, Space Club, was established. So along with Space Club, at that time we established Ham Radio Club, Media Club, ECL Club, certain more clubs were established, and the task was taken. At that time, his one friend was working in Aisher, and the task was collecting the air samples at the height 30 kilometers, and the scientists in the Aisher, they were working on the topic. So we approached professor at Aisher, and that task was undertaken, and in collaboration with Aisher, this project was designed. So that thing was that uh, making the successful project, so that our students got the confidence, enough confidence that yes, we can also do something. तो इन्फिनिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स जो पहिला होता तो इन्फिनिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स and from that on instant our students started lot in this progress. So that was the idea behind all these things.
Great, sir. I think you said it. We have inferiority complex for so many things. In very small places like Islampur, Sangli or something, how we can really dream about that. But I think you are making
In
it happen.
Maharashtra, in all private colleges, we are the first. We launched the successful satellite of the and successful deployment also.
Great,
Both things
great.
were
I think
successful.
really a proud moment for all of us, and I congratulate entire team from not only RAS side but from all the alumni of RIT. One more suggestion, I think it must be from Professor Mirza. He had been asking me to put across to you to my great friend and IMD scientist, great G scientist, Mr. Krishna Hosalikar. He is one of the leading IMD professionals, very knowledgeable and very experienced. He was handling Mumbai IMD, and now he is at CSR Surface Instrument Division in Pune. So if you guys are really interested, I think please let me know. He was already there on our platform at RA. I think
Yes, we have conducted one workshop.
Yes, he conducted one workshop. So if you are interested for cloud seeding or anything for
Definitely.
weather parameter measurement, I think nobody is better than him in India right now. So
Yes,
I will
sure.
be very happy to connect with Hosalikar sir, and maybe we can now, as thankfully we can meet physically. We can invite him to our college premises, along with Parag, who is a great enthusiast now. He's also in Pune. Both are in Pune. If you want to go and meet them at Pune, I'll be very happy. But at the same time, if you want to invite him at RIT, we'll be very happy to connect with you.
Definitely. After Diwali, college will be starting offline, and in offline mode, that will be possible for us to interact with the students. So we shall arrange it. Definitely.
Great. I don't see any specific question here from anybody. If anyone wants to share any specific comment, please unmute and
Yes, sir.
Rohit, please go ahead, Rohit.
Sir, I'm having some.
Yeah, Vikram, please go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I would like to thank Pisar sir for this great initiative and the other space club team members for this amazing work, basically. And I would like to add something as a technical help through our Raha community. So whatever the design space club is currently making, so trying to improvise the thrust of the this rocketry models. So we can test it using computational fluid dynamic techniques in the OpenFOAM software. Basically, in the OpenFOAM software, we can reduce the drag force on the skin of this rocketry, and thus we can enhance the efficiency, and thus we can save a lot of fuel. Likewise, any design is appreciable. Okay, any design we can test it in our OpenFOAM system using computational fluid dynamics, and we can discuss a lot over all the designs. No problem. We are ready to discuss.
Thank you, Vikram, for that great help. If you can
Yes.
post your contact details, I think it will be
Yes,
really great.
definitely, this will be very useful for our students.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Because we
Vikram,
want to
if
get
you
right
don't mind-
direction.
Yeah, go ahead, Pisa, sir.
No, you continue. Just we
I
want
just
this
wanted
direct,
to- I
right
just-
direction. Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask Vikram if he can just briefly give us his introduction, where exactly is he he's working.
Okay. I'm working as an assistant professor at Institute of Chemical Technology. I had completed
Yes.
PhD in mechanical engineering recently in 2021. At the start of in March 2021, I worked on heat transfer and fluid flow applications, solar air heating applications, water pumping applications, and other designs. So I'm having quite familiar with the CFD applications, and we can successfully use the CFD applications for designing the external skin of rocketry system,
Yeah.
movable fins using moving mesh applications, and calculating the thrust of. We can. I didn't work actually, but we can work in the OpenFOAM software. How calculating the capacity of a motor required for propulsion.
Great.
So that would be of great help.
Thank
for
you, Vikram.
designing the rocketry system. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think this is what this platform really looks at, collaboration. Now I request Rohit or Rajesh to please unmute and ask the question.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Rajesh Ulugde here. I am also 95 pass out from RIT. First of all, I would like to congratulate Pisar sir and the team Space Club for definitely achieving this new heights, I will say. I have one question to the team members. What motivates you to do all these activities?
Yes, Neeraj.
And
Vikram, I think, sorry, Neeraj, anybody from your team?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. So the motivation that we require here, or the motivation that drives us to have some achieve these heights, that we can say, as you know, we need to have different. We need to work on different domain, and the space domain is one of the fascinating stuff, and has technology of different level. And we also want to establish ourselves on different platform and different level, and connect to the people in different industries. And for looking forward, as we know, here are different departments that come together as a club. And as a club, we need to have something innovative. And as Pisasa was helping us out in different projects, and having making us connect with different, you can say, ISA Bhopal, that we had connections and collaboration. And this definitely gives a push that we required, or motivation from the sir side, as well as it gives us burn from the inside, and which definitely has helped us go through a good journey in this club.
yeah, thank you, Neeraj, for this
Yeah.
comment. And definitely, I should congratulate the whole team to have a very good communication during over I think 10 15 20 minutes, and really appreciates the efforts which you have put in while presenting this confidently to the team, so that I can say that since I'm not from this field also, but I could understand what you were saying. Thank you very much.
I think well said, Rajesh. To be very frank, what I am observing for last couple of presentations, specifically from these clubs from RIT, I thought you will also comment on that. That the way they communicate effectively is a very remarkable job, and maybe the
Yes.
credit goes to the professors at RIT. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we should really clap for them.
yeah.
Rohit, you've been waiting for a long time. Rohit.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So I second that actually, Rajesh. The way they are presenting and way they are communicating, it's a very understandable manner. We are easily understanding the concept behind their project and applications. So I congratulate Pisar sir and the team for their achievements. So Neeraj, my question is regarding this EPLV. So which communication system and control systems which you are using for this
Hello.
EPLV model?
Yes, sir.
And
I am
how I
Max.
think I have seen that in your mission, you mentioned that to develop our own communication system and build our own ground station to communicate with the satellite is your one of the mission. So how you are working towards achieving this mission?
Om can give a breakdown for this.
Yeah. Hello, myself Om Bhagat and working in as an R&D head in the space club. So, as you have asked that how our control system also work and how our communication we will do with our rocket and with the ground station. So, taking the experience from our balloon satellites that we have used the LoRa technology for the high range, low power system. So, and it is also for a high velocity or for high acceleration system. So by using these different communication modules like LoRa, we are trying to communicate with the rocket and to the ground. So and with the low power and for the high range. So using these communication modules, we are able to grab the data from our rocket, the real-time data to our ground station. And and next thing that how our system will work or the control system. So initially we were using a timer based system, so where we were simulating and theoretically we were solving and defining a time where the apogee will be reached or the height altitude will be reached for the rocket. So where we are using different softwares, open rockets, MATLABs, and different simulations. So as the system should be reliable. We are trying, as for EPLV1, we were trying to do using some acceleration data and the real-time altitude data, that is the velocity when, as everybody knows, when at a specific height when the rocket is reached, there is a velocity zero or the acceleration goes to zero. So at that time the rocket's parachute must be on so it can recover easily. So doing this so for that thing we are trying to achieve this by using taking the real-time data from the sensors like pressure sensors, IMU sensors, and calculating it and trying to means combining the data with the different parameters like time also, with the height, altitude, with the acceleration is zero or not. By combining this data and doing some threshold control system or controlling that at the specific time it should on. So by using these methods we are trying to achieve this, and this is the advanced way to automate our rocket system so that it can take its decision in own manner.
Great. Thank you. I think it was really helpful. I'm sure Rohit. Go ahead, Rohit.
Yeah, thank you. You have explained it very clear manner.
Yes, sir.
Great. So now here comes question right from New Jersey. Great friend Vyas Khanna. Over to Vyas. Vyas. Rohit, is Vyas there? He just raised his hand.
No, he left the meeting. I think he will join soon.
Okay, great. We'll wait for him.
Yes.
Meantime, I have one question for Om. Every space vehicle utilizes cryogenic combustion systems, correct? Fuel. So, at what temperature these fuels have been used, and what exactly is your solution for that?
So the cryogenic engines are they are using the liquid base, mainly everywhere they are a liquid, and they are also solids. So while the burning of the gases in the engines led to the propulsion. As in space there is no air, so we are using the exhaust of the gases, and we are trying to thrust. We are using the forces from that thrust of the exhaust gases, and we are using the Newton's third law, that action reaction, and the rocket is going up. And regarding to the environment and the environment, it is as many big entrepreneurs like different from the communities like ISRO, and they have also told that we can't there is not a simple alternative way that efficiently can work instead of a cryogenic engine that will be helpful for environment. And we are also trying to means reduce the pollution or the smoke, the exhaust, the harmful exhaust from our motors by using different chemicals or using additives, and that we are also going in researching that thing.
Great, thank you. I think Vyas is back. Vyas, we missed you, I think, a couple of minutes back. Please go ahead, Vyas.
Hey, sorry for that. Sorry for that. I got a call, so I got disconnected. Yeah, I had a question. I really liked what you guys are doing, and you guys really great communication, as Abbas said. And I must say, Pisal sir, excellent effort, and the work that the faculty is doing here in these clubs is really fantastic, and nice to see you guys motivated to do things out of the box, something different, and a very interesting thing that you guys are doing. I had quite a few questions. One was the recovery. How do you handle the recovery of these, rockets that you have launched? Because that is something. How are you handling that? Is my first question. Maybe I can then come back to you on the other questions too.
Yes, sure, sir. Talking about the recovery, as Om said before, let me explain you again that we use a timer-based circuit over here. And first of all, using the motor, the static test from the load cell, we calculate the burn time and the highest apogee time that the rocket can go with reaching the zero acceleration or altitude. We calculate it through simulations on rocketry systems, softwares that we have, and using a timer-based circuit. First of all, in recent EPLV, we used PIC microcontroller to trigger the servo motors. A simple mechanisms were used for strings, rubber mechanism for nose cone. For this, here we used two parachute. One was at the nose cone at the top of the rocket, and second was at the center in the body tube. First would eject at the apogee time, at the highest apogee we reach, and the second after the 4 second, so that we can successfully deploy it to the back to the ground.
Great. Okay, and then it would when this would come down, was it close where you could recover it, and it was close to where you guys were, within a certain radius or whatever, from where you had launched it? How was that actually happening?
So, nearest to it. So, sir, we are using two parachute mechanisms. So, where first parachute is used to means as the velocity of the rocket is too high when it's going downwards. So, to control means to reduce its range or area, to reduce its range, the first parachute is a small parachute where it tries to reduce its velocity, but not that much. It goes beyond the area where we are trying to recover it. So for a small instant, the first parachute tries to means reduce the area where it could recover, and the second parachute tries to slow down the velocity. So due to this, we get a smaller area base where you can recover our rocket. And so the Shardul can also give a perfect explanation about it.
Sure, sir. Thanks, Varun. So, sir, we use the like multiple stages of parachutes to try to keep the range as minimum as possible. So it is around like 400 meter from the launch site. Yeah, so that's the answer.
Oh, great. That's really nice. Okay.
Great.
Another thing that I wanted to
Just 1 minute.
Sorry.
It's already 10:30. I think
Yes,
we will
that's right.
extend this with permission of all the attendees. We'll extend this session for another 5 minutes. So go ahead, Vyas.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys another thing about your balloon satellite that you guys had. That was a really interesting concept. Now, balloon satellites, have you guys looked at other applications for balloon satellites as well, like trying to harness wind power? When you actually have the balloon going to very high altitudes, you have the jet streams over there. So, have you guys looked at some kind of harnessing of power there, some kind of a project using that option?
Yeah, yes, sir. So, as you mentioned, there is a lot of applications of balloon satellite. The other was like for remote internet connections, and also there is a concept called you take up the rocket up to the height of 30 kilometers with balloon, and then you launch it from there. So it will be easy to launch in the space. Like it reduces the drag. That was the application we were looking at. But the another thing for the balloon is like they uses the helium, and it is a pretty costly like gas. So instead of balloon, we are trying to make our rockets more efficient and cheap at that at this time.
Got it.
Great. I think
Okay.
Pisar sir had one question. He has raised his hand. Pisar sir, over to you.
I don't have any question. Just I want to tell you that really speaking, in last 1.5 hours, I am not in contact with this student. So let us appreciate the efforts of all these team, because whatever progress they have done at their own. This is more important, because
Yes.
from initial phase, whenever we started a club, we faced a lot of problems related to funding for the project and all these things. But in last 1.5 years, there was no funding, there was no any support, there was no any faculty. But despite of all these things have made this progress, and really their efforts are very appreciable. So no doubt here onwards, on behalf of RAH, we will be there with you, and whatever support is required, that support will be given by RAH members.
Always,
Thank
sir. I think
Over
thank
to
you for spelling it out on behalf of all of us. I think with this, if we are done with questions and answer, I once again congratulate Space RIT Club. Thank you for being there and presenting your journey. Like Pisar sir mentioned, for any damn question, please do feel to write to us or get in touch with anybody at Task Force or any community. Especially, I would like to introduce you to Vyas. Vyas basically leads our business innovation team, and there we are trying to bring all those technologies. He has great tact of looking at these aspects, and we all are there from different sectors to help you out. Like I promised you, we can definitely meet Dr. Krishna Hosadikar and Parag, who's a great astrophysics guy. We can even arrange lectures. So let us know through Pisar sir. We'll try to help you in various dimensions. Once again, thank you very much indeed, all attendees for attending this weekly call. A request, please subscribe our LinkedIn page for more details. Please participate in different activities. Now, as I mentioned during announcement of eBike 350, we need your more support through your participation by means of monetary or your guidance or whatever you want. We want to really make success of Section 8 company, so we can fund these great initiatives at RIT. Once again, thank you for joining today, and have a great evening. Good night. Thank you.
Good night, all. Thank you very much. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Neeraj and team, thank you very much for joining.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.